This is the video review of the DX Cryner Robo from ToQger. Now, this figure was not released in the normal ToQger DX line. Instead, this is part of the Super Sentai Artisan line. It's the same thing that gave us the DX Chogokin Tokyo figure. And basically, as far as I can tell, it's just supposed to be a line that takes the DX toy line and either upgrades the figures with some better materials, or gives us like some villain mecha like we have here. Because this is the basically one of the bad guy mecha from ToQger, and I don't think we've actually gotten bad guy mecha in the DX line since Maji Ranger. I forget what it was called, but it was the in the States it was called the Centaurus Wolf Megazord. But anyway, this is the Cryner Robo. Before I get into it, I'm gonna look at the box, because the box is really nice. Here you see a picture of just the Cryner Robo, and it looks awesome. And I love the rose petals are falling here. It makes it look really classy, and the red is really nice. And then this picture of the head right here is amazing. I love how just imposing it looks. On the back here, you get a nice technical look at the toy. It's just standing there, and you get a nice look at the CAD drawing, I guess. I don't know if that's actually a CAD drawing or if it's just something based on the figure. Like if there's a Photoshop filter to generate something like this, it just looks for edges. Anyway. As you can see here, the official spelling for Cryner is cry, like wah wah wah, Cryner. So there are basically three spellings I've seen for this name. There's this one, there's a Ku liner, liner like a train, so Kuliner, and then there's Kreiner, K-R-E-I-N-E-R. So if you're trying to find information about this guy, those are the three spellings you're going to want to look up. So anyway, the box off to the side, here is the Cryner Robo down here. And it's a pretty interesting figure. It's this really long train right here. And the train has one problem that I really hate. Now, I don't know if it would be a big problem for other people, but it is a problem for me. And the problem is, whoop! The middle section here is not ratcheted, or it does not clip together, or anything. It's just wee floppy, and it's really annoying because it makes it so that I'm just trying to handle the figure in a train mode. It's really a pain. Like, I can't just carry him around in this mode with one hand. I have to use both hands, carry him like a baby or something, and I just find it kind of annoying. But otherwise, the train mode looks really nice. I love all the steampunky details, and the paint applications are all really nice too. All of them are spot on. I love like these little gears here, like these blue gears. They just look so nice. And overall, it is a very artsy looking figure in this mode. One thing that's kind of disappointing is that like they painted the chest section here, but on the back it's not painted at all. And I really wish they had, to help justify the price of this guy, because this guy is pretty expensive. But anyway, one thing that you can do with this guy in train mode is he has his cape, and I really love what this cape does in the robot mode, but in the vehicle mode, all it does, in the train mode, all it does is it just tabs onto these little bits right here, which I'll talk about in a minute, and it just sits like that, and it's really weird looking and kind of ugly. I appreciate that they made a way for it to store away, but they didn't make a way for the sword to store either. And I really love this sword. It looks really cool. I wish they had either come up with a better way for it to store, or a way to store the sword instead, because I love the cape, but it's not really necessary. But the sword would have been nice, especially because it's small enough that they could have found some place to put it. Anyway, these little shoulder bits right here, I do have a problem with them, which is that they don't really look like anything. They just look like parts from the robot mode hanging off the train, which is exactly what they are. What I would like to do with them is to fold them down like this so that there isn't a huge gap from the front of the train. Excuse me. But if you do that, and it does look nice when you do this too, because it looks nice from the front and it covers up some of the arm stuff for the robot mode. But if you do that, well, these things are kind of ratchet, and you can kind of see the ratchet working here. And basically what causes the tension for the ratchet is when you rotate it, it bends the two sides of the plastic here out just a tiny bit, just at a fraction of a fraction of a fraction of a bit. So it's a decent ratchet mechanism, but I feel like if you hold it out here, since it's not actually reaching the next position on the ratchet, that you might actually make this get loose over time. And so I don't really want to leave it in the way that I want to leave it just because of that. So that's a bit disappointing. Otherwise, that No, there's one other thing I want to talk about. When you get this guy, and I apologize for not getting to the transformation yet. There's a lot of small stuff about this guy. When you get this guy, he's actually in a bunch of parts, in 4 parts, with the head parts up here also being their own separate parts. The arms here are their own parts. And then the front and the back halves of the train are their own parts. And you can see, and the reason why the arms detach is for a kind of limb swap gimmick this guy has. Kinda, I'll get into that in a little bit. But the place where these things connect together here is a kind of ball joint type socket. You can see barely in there. I don't know if I'll be able to get my light in there to see it. You can kind of see that. Now, at first it seems like the kind of connection that would not be very strong. I've transformed this guy back and forth several times and it hasn't come undone yet. So I don't feel like it's actually a structural problem. And the reason why they put this here is because this thing is so long and the hinges down here are kind of tiny that if there were like a glancing blow to the figure like to the side here, instead of the hinges breaking down here, it would just detach and put it back together. So it seems like a weird choice at first. Like when you first get it's like, oh no, this is awful, but there's a good reason for it. Now, on to the transformation. The first thing you want to do is just move the arms a little bit out of the way. I'm going to want to rotate the thighs forward like this, because you don't really have enough room to do it when you're in the robot mode. So rotate forward like this, then come to the bottom, and this is kind of similar to the Diesel Ressha, where you take one of these and you pop it forward. It doesn't matter which one, and then you take the tab from one and put it into the clip from the other. But before you do that, you need to bring it down like this, and this is part of why I was saying that the hinges up here are kind of fragile. It's because they're also on a slider joint right there. So what you're going to want to do is rotate the head forward, because sometimes the cowling around the head will prevent the 2 halves of the body from coming together properly, but you bring them together like this, tab them together, and that forms the chest. Now to work on the arms, you want to bring these up just a little bit, and then you can pull out the fists here, then these will just hinge up like this. And like I was saying earlier, the arms do come off, and they just attach by ball joint again thing here. And sometimes they'll come off on accident, so do be a little bit careful with these hinges. Just take it slow or else they might pop off. And I forgot to bring out the hand. I've actually taken several takes of this of this video, and every time I do, I forget to pop out that hand. I don't know why. And then you're going to take the head up here, you're going to rotate down the face, and you're going to rotate the horns forward like that. Then you're going to come down to the legs, you're going to split them apart, and then you're going to bring the feet up like that. And the way you would bring the feet back down is you press this up and then they come down. And this is the Cryner Robo on his robot mode. And he looks pretty awesome, if not like a guy in a bunch of leather. Now the way his cape works is, it's this piece right here. And at first it seems like, oh, it doesn't have any joints, it's just going to get in the way. It actually doesn't really get in the way that much. Kind of. It does, but it doesn't, and I'll get into that. It's another problem I have with the figure. Now the way it hooks on is there are 2 tabs here and here. They'll go here and here. What's nice about this is that this will also help keep the upper body pegged together. I haven't actually had any problems with it coming apart, but, excuse me, just, you know, in case. And then these little divots right here are going to allow these little, where these things hook on, because these things come off, like that. Basically, these little posts right here are going to sit in these little crevices right here. Now, it's possible to put this on without popping off the shoulder pauldrons, so I'm going to try to do that. So, first you're going to just slink it under each one, and then put it into place. If I can get it into place. Oops. It's a little bit awkward. It's also awkward if you're doing it on camera. If you're not doing it on camera, it's not bad. And anyway, it really adds some presence to this guy. And the way that it folds under the shoulder pauldrons just looks really nice. And it's just a very clean cape for being a cape, which is technically kind of kibbly. Now, the reason why I say the cape doesn't really get in the way of the arm posability is because the horns up here will get in the way of the arm posability more than anything else will. Because if you try and raise the arm up this far, then this will kind of pop up and it'll press into the horn on the side of his head, which is so annoying. It's basically the big problem I have with the robot mode, that the robot mode cannot pose very well because of that. But anyway, before I really get into all the details about the head and how you can deal with it, this is the robot mode. The details on it are really nice, same as they were in the train mode. I love what his chest looks like. I'm not sure what these little things in here are for. They look like they are tabs for some kind of connection. And especially, let me show you this. If you pop off these sections here, they're the same kind of tab as this thing up here, I think. And I'll show you why these come off in a bit. So I'm not sure if those are meant for anything. There is an arm swap gimmick for this guy. We'll get into that in a little bit, but it's not for a little while. And overall, it's just a really nice looking figure. Like, it's a great display piece. Like, this thing on a cabinet or whatever is going to look just amazing. Because, like, he has this really nice matte finish to him. And the artistry of this figure, even though he doesn't have quite as much of a toy feel as I would like, the artistry on this figure is really nice. His sword will go into his hand, and again, the problem with the shoulder bits is annoying. Now, the way you get around that problem, this has to do with the arm swap gimmick. When I got this guy, I got him on eBay, and it came with this little box of extra parts here. And these parts are so that you can make him look like some of the other Cryner Robos. Like, this is General Schwartz's Cryner Robo. But you can also make it look like the more generic Cryner Robo with these parts here. You can also put this thing on here, which is an adapter so that you can put on, like, the arms from one of these guys, one of these Ressha pieces. It's actually meant for the drill Ressha, just like you saw in the show, but I don't have drill Ressha, so I can't show that. He has some extra bits here for these little prongs over there, and then some extra foot pieces here. So, before I really get into showing you what the other Cryner Robo looks like, I'm going to show you my preferred way of having this guy. What I prefer is keep the General Schwartz's Cryner's head on here, but I take off these little horn bits here. And I hate taking these parts off, because I always feel like they get damaged every time I do it. Especially because you can see, like, there's a little bit of plastic bent up there. That wasn't there the last time I did this, so it's probably from this time. And then what I like to do is I like to take the these two pieces here from the set, and these ones pop onto the side, and they don't rotate forward or anything, but they pop onto the side, and then what happens is these things here are supposed to tab into these little tabs right there, to kind of make it look like he has, like, I don't know, a life support system heading to his head. And then what this does is allows for these to come all the way up without really bumping into the head, so you do get some nice arm articulation here. Because he does have some, like, he has a forward and back, and here the cape's kind of getting away, but you don't really need to move the arms back that much. So you can go quite a bit up, then go out, and you also get an inwards elbow if you really want it. It's not the best elbow, but it is still Sentai, in spite of supposed to being a nice Sentai set. So this way, I think, still keeps the niceness of having some silver bits by the head. It also keeps the head from rocking as much, because the head does have a tendency to actually pop off sometimes. While still having the nice General Schwartz head, and these things don't bump into it. So this is my favorite configuration for the head. So anyway, now that I got that out of the way, let's look at some of the other parts for the other Cryner Robo. So what you're going to do is you're going to take off this little headpiece here, and then we're going to put on this other one. And there's only one way you can put it on. They're keyed back there. So we're going to put this one on. It kind of looks like a diving suit. And then you're going to take off this arm here. You don't have to do this, but it's one thing you can do. Pop it off. You're going to take this and put it on. And it's keyed again, so it can only go on this arm. You're going to take these little things right here and pop them off, which are again keyed. I'm going to replace them with these, I don't know, fire hose shaped things. You're going to come down here. You're going to bring these down. You're going to pop these off. You're going to replace them. These things actually look really nice too. You're going to replace them with these skull versions. And these don't ever like to come all the way down onto the thing. I don't know why. Maybe I'm not pressing hard enough, but I don't really want to press hard enough. But anyway, so these are all the little extra parts you can put on. And then to show you what it looks like with a the Ressha on it. You're really supposed to do this with drill Ressha, but again, I don't have it. I have a candy toy version or a Gashapon version, but anyway, the arm is a bit too big. I get why you would want a drill Ressha on instead of one of the other ones. So anyway, I'll pop this off, and I'll put on the other hand with the different weapons up here. And then I'll return to train mode so you can see what the different train mode looks like. And that'll be just about it for this video. So here's what the Cryner Robo looks like for the generic version. And it still looks pretty nice. And then now let's return it to the train mode. So to do that, you're going to pop off the cape. Bring these up for now. Pop these. Yeah, that happens sometimes. Pop these forward. Bring this in. Do the same to the other side. And then you'll bring these back down. You're going to pop these up from those little tabs I showed you. Rotate the head forward. Bring this up. Split it apart. And then the hardest part of this entire thing is making sure that you bring these all the way out. Then you'll bring it up like this. Rotate these forward. Bring these down. And then you'll just sort of lay the arms down on top like that. And then this is the generic train mode. I do like the skulls up there, I just wish they would go down a bit more. I don't know why they don't. And then the main difference in the middle is you get these things sticking out to the side. And I'm not too big of fans of these. I guess you can kind of mitigate that by rotating it to the side. You get a skull thing on the back again. And these things are a bit different. And anyway, this has been the video review of the... oh, one thing I forgot. He'll rock if you don't put that down. So this is the video review of the Cryner Robo. It's an interesting figure. I think it's not as good as it could have been. But there's a lot of detail to it, especially if you get the spare parts. And I do recommend getting the spare parts if you can find them. I'm not sure exactly what you have to do to get them, because I got mine on eBay and they were just included with a lot. So try and get the spare parts so you can get the different head side for these things, the different horns, just because these ones work the robot mode a little bit better, and I like having something next to his head, because otherwise you just get these little tabs sticking out to the side. And also it's neat to be able to use different Cryner Robo configurations, and this thing's also kind of neat. Anyway, I don't know how much I really recommend it. I guess it just depends on what you want out of the Cryner Robo. It's definitely not a toy. It's a collector's item, so it's not bad. I'll tell it that. It's not bad, but it does have its flaws, and considering I wanted a toy, ultimately, it's not for me, but you might like it. So I would say probably stay away unless you just really love excuse me. Probably stay away unless you really love ToQger, and this is just like, oh my god, this thing is amazing. But it's not a great toy, I'll just put it that way. So I review Power Rangers, Transformers, Digimon, lots of stuff like that. If any of that sounds interesting, please subscribe, and thank you for watching.